Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Mongol Royale, or more specifically, Pro Player Mongol Royale. So this mode is basically Battle Royale in Age of Empires, which is kind of bonkers, but it's possible because of the civilization, the Mongols, with the ability to pack up all their buildings. So we've got 8 pro players and a pigeon with us today, and I think we're going to have an absolutely crazy game here.
Yeah, it should be nutty. This is a game made by Henro. It's a pretty good one. I've had some fun with it before. I've also lost my hair over it before because it wasn't functioning. But shout out to Henro for actually getting everything updated in prep for Season 5.
Yeah, and have a look at this observer UI.
Wow.
This is absolutely crazy. We've even got a little timer here at the bottom.
Where did this come from, Merlin? Did Relic make this?
Good one, KP. Good one. Imagine if Relic would implement something as useful as this into their game. No, of course, it was part of the community.
Yeah, or at least like take away the giant fat bar in the top left and replace it with something. There are definitely options out there. But yeah, shout out to the community for making this come about. This was especially useful, obviously in the last tournament similar to this, right? Where it was really important from the Outback Octagon where they had the extra pop to track. But even if you don't have that, it's nice at a glance to be able to see how the stats are looking.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, we should highlight coming into this, you may notice everyone is the Mongols right now. Some of you may be getting PTSD thinking back to that time you got rushed 5 minutes in the game. They have to for this game mode for very good reasons, Merlin.
Yeah, so you can technically play another civilization, but the way this game mode works is that we've got a big fat blue circle around the edge of the map. And this circle will slowly close in every 5 minutes. So that's why we've got this little timer at the bottom. So each 5 minutes, it gets smaller and smaller. And you have to move in with the circle. And if you're outside of that circle, when this timer hits 0, you're out. You lose your stuff that is outside of that circle. So you got to be really careful here with where you look to put your buildings. And you can see the first circle here, very standard, right? In the middle, nothing really that amazing. You know, it's just a regular circle. If anyone dies in this circle, you probably deserve to be out. So
but the board, there's so many tumblers in the car. Yeah, don't go there. It's a tempting proposition, but I've been there. It's not something you want to engage with. And it's important to highlight, like, what matters is, are your landmarks in, right? If all your landmarks are outside the new ring, boom, you're insta-explode out the game. Funnily enough, one of the players wondered if he had to play Mongols. I'm sure some of you could guess who it was. If I said he probably would have played English. We did kindly remind him of what happens if you are a normie civ that cannot move their base. So Kalp decided probably a good idea to be the Mongols.
You know, it would be Kalp's luck, actually, that if he did pick English, each circle would just be on his base. And he'd end up winning the game. I don't know, that's the sort of thing I see happening to Kalp. But he did end up picking the Mongols, so, you know, if he does need to move, which I'm sure he probably will have to, he's going to be alright. But let's actually introduce the players, because we've got some really high-level gamers with us today. We've got Kalp here in the orange, we've got Lash in the green, we've got Wham in the yellow, we've got Corvinus, formerly known as Salami, in the blue, we've got Sassy in the red, we've got Puppy Paw in the pink, Valdemar, also known as the Kid, in the purple, and then we got Krakedy here in the teal. So, you know, these players, I know quite a few of them that have played this mode before. One that comes to my mind immediately is Corvinus. You know, he loves playing this game mode on stream. I don't know, is there any other ones you can think of?
For this game mode, not really. I think most of them have gravitated towards like free-for-all type stances in the past. Like Wham and Puppy Paw are kind of like, you know, dead obvious ones outside of Corvinus. That type of environment. When we think about people that, like, in this type of environment, I maybe say are weaker than the rest, you know, Lash has played a decent amount of free-for-all. I put him in kind of mid-tier. I haven't seen too much of Sassy. Also, Voldemar. We have to remember Voldemar was, if I remember correctly, he had to serve in his national force for a little while, right?
Yeah, he was away for quite a while from the scene.
Exactly. So he's maybe a little bit rustic in that regards, and he's probably been putting all of his time into the 1v1s, maybe even the 2v2s, as opposed to free-for-all megalomania type modes like this.
Okay, P, have a look at this. We're 3 seconds away now from the next circle moving in. So there we go. It hits, and the new circle appears. So the first circle the second circle, in fact, it's not that much of a difference. We see most people still happily sitting in the circle here. We've got a bit of a graphical glitch here, but there we can see where the circle is.
But you can very blatantly see where the circle is. That's the important part.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, hopefully this doesn't affect the players too much. But you can look on the mini-maps. As long as they move in here, they should be all right.
You say this shouldn't affect the players too much. What if you're teal?
True. Yeah, Kraken has got to be feeling pretty happy about this spot.
Kraken's like, I'm just going to get a head start on getting to the center because I have a color issue here the rest of you don't have to suffer with.
We are actually playing on Dry Arabia, so we don't have Sacred Site victories really on our hands, as there are still 3 Sacred Sites. I was kind of theorizing maybe Sacred Site victories could possibly be a potential on this, but I think it's going to be very, very tricky. Maybe if you get all 3 Sacred Sites outside the circle and you capture them all before they get consumed by the circle, then maybe there's a way to somehow get a victory. But I think it's going to be kind of tricky doing that.
That was my thought process, right? In theory, if you fast cast and immediately double pump shamans, depending on the spawn, like within the second circle, you might be able to actually capture and then move on. But it's going to be super tight. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate due to engine limitations and modders not having access to the state tree, that it wasn't possible for Henero to create a system where when you leave the circle, you lose health over time, right? It's that when you leave the circle, you die, if I recall correctly. So kind of limited. But imagine the strategy you'd have with what you just said if you could heal outside the circle. So you just like send a bunch of monks. Only one's going to come back because they have to stack heal, but you get out and you capture that sacred site. All of a sudden, you have a meme objective that everyone has to worry about.
Yeah, that could be pretty big brain. That could be pretty big brain. But what's not so big brain here is Puppy Paw. What is the plan here? Maybe this is big brain, but to me, this does not look big brain. What on earth is going on here?
Well, he's got enough for a second TC, so he's just going to set up a new base, and I think Puppy Paw's goal is maybe like store tech up. Yeah, so that's the TC placement. So he's going to get a TC right on top of the sacred sites you talked about, so no one can kind of, threaten a weird objective there. Then after the fact, he can set up his next landmark here and not worry about insta-exploding like he would from his current position.
It's just a lot of villagers though, right? Like, back in the base here, you've got half of your eco. I feel like it's a lot of time, idle time.
They have to move at some point, though. There's a thing you have to remember, Merlin, right? So this argument is like, oh, it's a lot of villagers. Yeah, but when the circle comes in, a lot of villagers are going to have to move anyway, right? So you might as well stagger the move and have half your eco active while the other are prepping the new base.
So I guess Puppy Paw's plan here is that he's gone directly to the center of this next circle, hoping that the next circle has a much higher chance of landing on him. So he's sort of securing up this position for a later stage of the game, rather than just slowly moving in like other players are doing here, such as like Sassy. We see he's actually moved in pretty far as well. But we see Valdemar, if the next circle is all the way over to this side of the map, he's going to find it really tricky moving over in that position, because Puppy Paw, well, he's already secured up this position. So yeah, maybe this is actually a really smart decision out of Puppy Paw here. It might affect him a little bit in the short term. Maybe if Cracky looks to, put some pressure on here, especially now with the fact he's going up with the Kurultai.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of these players are kind of either set up for the second TC to the center, or they're staggering their TCs. Like, look at Salami. He's bringing his TC to the center, but he still has one at home to keep production churning. So it's almost like you're cover and moving your base. And there's the cover and move attempt, but, the interception.
That feels bad. That feels really bad for Puppy Paw here. He's moving his whole base over. Apart from the single landmark and the barracks, he's going to be losing a couple villagers. Hopefully it's not that big of a deal for him. He should be able to recover pretty quickly on 2 TC. But in saying that, most players here are on 2 TC. We see another TC coming down here for Wham. Everyone's just sort of packing into the center right now.
Yeah, you could actually just optimize around a TC rush strat, right? Like, imagine you build 5 TCs here, and you cover and move. They're glorified outposts, but finally he realizes he needs to try and address this. The reason why he's trying to tug down that outpost is like this Yaman effect here, right? So it's very difficult to finesse. Even these spearmen, they're lucky they got their hands on that one knight. The quick rush up is going to make this really difficult for poor little Puppy Paw to contest when you consider that he doesn't actually have any standing army whatsoever.
Yeah, this feels really rough for Puppy Paw here. We see that next circle comes in. even smaller. Everyone seems to be inside the circle apart from Valdemar over here. He should have a nice little spot over here, but...
You Willie?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see, but yeah, this is going to be a rough one for Valdemar, that's for sure.
I think he's going to be saved by the fact that Poppy Paw has decided to wave at everyone in the room, right? Like, he walked straight to the center, bluntly parks himself, and everyone else was there already. So I think there's going to be kind of this feast or famine thing where everyone's so focused on Poppy Paw that Voldemar can snake the south side. It isn't really a high-value area, by the way. If you check the south, you'll see there's not that much wood. There's not that much in the way like gold or whatever, right? Like, he's got one small vein. So he has to essentially hug that left wood line, which is going to put him in direct contest with Brackety.
And then you gotta keep thinking about the next circle, right? And that's why packing towards the middle here is so important. Sure, Wham might be in the feudal age at the moment, but he's got the best map control right now, in my opinion. You know, he's got 2 TCs down. He's got a load of towers over here. Plenty of resources still available to him, though gold might be a little bit of an issue. I don't see any gold for him here.
He's got that small gold vein, right? And that's literally it. But
yeah, it's not a lot, though.
Depends what his priority is.
And it can be contested here by Lash.
He's trying to poke him prod now.
Oh, no. Poppy Paw.
Poppy, where were we?
Poor Poppy Paw.
He's looking for a way, man. You can see he's looking for a way to go north, but what he doesn't realize that we do is north isn't any more comfortable than this. It's actually worse. If he goes north, there's 3 players already in a direct contest. The interesting part, by the way, is how Kalp is just playing with himself. Like, you know, he's just playing a little bit of squash with the wall. Nobody's caused him any harm so far.
Yeah, he's just sort of kept it to himself over here, right? Hasn't had to move that far. I believe his starting position was just over here. So, you know, he hasn't really had to move that far. He's just bringing in some resources. Interestingly, despite being left alone most of the game, he's got out a couple of Keshiks here, but hasn't added in a second TC like most other players have gone for. In fact, I think every other player has, apart from Lash.
Yeah, I think he prioritized relics, right? I don't think many people target out relics. Meanwhile, Kalp was trying to do that. He's already got 2 in the bank. He could maybe finesse that 3rd one that's closer to Lash's base. Actually, really Wham's base. After that, I don't know where he goes from there. I feel like he's going to have to try and make a move onto a player. But this is just getting messy. I mean, the siege is coming in. Trebuchet is a target on the Poppy Paw's base. The only upside that he gets to feel from this is his reluctance to die is buying time for other people to be his source of vengeance.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Poppy Paw right now. Karakity's already got out 3 traction trebuchets here. Poppy Paw's just going to be pulling the bills. He's trying to get his revenge on Karakity here.
It's not even going to work. Like it's Cronkite,
no.
right? But the siege would heal.
Look how fast they go down. Oh, poor Poppy Paw. He's still got 10 bills inside the TCKP. It's all right. It's all right. Copium.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep playing in this one. I definitely wouldn't want to just leave. Actually, no, I wouldn't. Like I said, spite, right? I would do it out of spite. I'd be like, okay, whose day can I ruin?
Yeah, I mean, Poppy Paw probably wants to try and get his revenge on Sassy. Sure, Karakity's being a little bit annoying here with the traction trebuchets. But the thing that really messed up Poppy in the beginning was those Keshiks coming in and then these outposts. So, you know, if I was Poppy, I would be... if I was Poppy, I'd be looking to get my revenge on Sassy here.
Yeah, the outposts just feel so dumb in this format, right? Like, the amount of players that are just stacking them up in this small confined area. And now you're seeing, because Sassy like originally set these up to screw around with Poppy Paw, he's made an indirect enemy off of it. Voldemar's not happy. He found a way of parking it on the east side as opposed to that west we talked about. But next step for him is he has to annihilate Sassy. And I think he can do that. I actually think for Sass, he's spent way too much on outposts and aggressing Poppy Paw. He doesn't have enough to now address the purple player. Wait, whoa, okay.
What is the plan here, Poppy Paw? I don't think he realizes that this is going to get insta-destroyed in 40 seconds.
Oh, I think he's experimenting to see if it works. I mean, Poppy Paw's that type of play. Like, he'll try and find the tricks in the book, right? So he's making a test here to see if there's a failure to check on packed up landmarks.
True, yeah. Well, we can actually show the audience what happens, because I don't think I've showed what's happened outside of the circle yet. So, you know, this can be a nice little demonstration. But you know what else we have, KP? Not just this wonderful UI. Have a look at this.
Oh my god, zooming works. Wow.
Yeah. How amazing is that? Who would have thought a game in 2023 with zoom? Wow.
Oh, here comes the TikTok. We need to see the explosion of the ball of landmark. I think he may have said, like,
Oh,
he should be dead.
Yep. It's just
It's
gone.
very dead. Jesus.
Okay, well.
There was a destroyed landmark here.
Thank God it tells us.
Yeah, and this goes to the point we were talking about, right? Like, you can go outside the ring before the check, or after the check, right? But you need to be back in by the time. So, like, that has an interesting dynamic with this idea of, like, going and capturing the sacred sites you talked about. Or for Kalp's situation, going and picking up as many relics as possible.
We've got a mass migration,
Good Lord.
KP. Look at this. Where's he going?
He's playing Edge. Yeah, he's playing he's playing outside ring. Like, I'm going to start using Apex Legends terms. I think Corvinus would appreciate that. It's like there's playing in the zone, right? And that's what this is. So usually in like a game like Apex, you take damage doing so, but it's sustainable and a delay to rotate. In this game, for 5 minutes, you don't take damage, right? You just need to make sure that when that clock ticks down, you're back in the ring. So it's got plenty of time to work with.
I think this is going to be Poppy Paw getting eliminated here. How is he still in this? He must have a unit alive somewhere on the field. Maybe it's just because of this. It's because he's got 2 town centers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough. Pop.
I mean, where? Like,
yeah.
might as well
Where'd you go?
Snow Forest, right? And pretend you're not here.
I mean, there's no really placement points. You don't get anything for killing people either. So Poppy Paw is really just sticking in this because he wants to try and outlive someone, I guess. The pride in being out first is, is something you don't want, right? So
no, he's just playing a minigame, right? It's a different game now. You know, like everyone is here playing
hide and seek.
Royale. Yeah, exactly. Like everyone's playing an RTS, and now he's playing like an ARPG. But there's no leveling, right? The only kind of levels that exist in this game is despair and then more despair. And things are getting tight here, by the way. It looks like Voldemort was
really
able to wiggle back in, but his new position isn't any better than his last, really. Like, he has to contest now, not just with Sassy, but now also with Corvinus.
Yeah, I think this next circle is going to be the one where we start to see some players getting eliminated. And we come back to this again, right? Wham. He's in such a great position here in the middle. Like, that center is really so important at the beginning of the game because now it comes down to chance for the rest of these players to where you're going to be, right? Are you having to relocate up to the north here? Because if so, Crackety's kind of screwed. But if it's on Crackety's side, then Corvinus is kind of screwed. So that's why I really like Wham's position here with his center play. And moving out for that middle of the map so early on. It worked out really well for him. Unfortunately, didn't work out quite so well for his brother, as now all he has left is a TC and a half.
Hey, if they stack on top of each other nicely, maybe someone gets confused. But the big thing to consider here is, like, these guys, like on our screen, are talented individuals when it comes to Age of Empires 4, right? They're not necessarily talented individuals when it comes to Battle Royales. There's a politics to the way you play a PR with that whole idea of central map control you talked about for Wham. If someone has center map control, it tends to draw a lot more attention. And Wham is now starting to experience that. He's got multiple players pushing from every angle. So what originally looked like a really great position to find himself in now has become a burden he simply can't bear. He needs to leave.
Yeah, he's going to be losing a lot of eco here. Does take out some of Lash's siege. But the problem for him is now he just doesn't have any military on the field.
Not just that. Look what came in the back. Voldemort's like, wait, this was vacated, okay? I signed the lease before you. Get the hell out of my new apartment.
Oh, man. Valdemar, he's just going to be sieging down the 2C here with all of his builds. He's got a couple men-at-arms in there as well. We got more fights happening on the south there. Crackety looking to push into Kalp's base. No player yet to hit the Imperial Age. I think everyone's in the Castle Age. Yeah, everyone's in the Castle Age apart from Poppy Paw here. Honestly, Sassy's looking in a good spot here. Look, he's just been left alone for the time being. He doesn't have that much military, though, and that could be a problem for him in this next circle.
Well, he keeps raiding, right? So he's kind of burning it. I actually favor Crackety's position out of all the players right now. He has to address Kalp, and Kalp, honestly, doesn't look like a big threat. Looks like a moth is getting ready to swat away, especially with this Kurultai on the front line. And the Kurultai should make this impossible to fight into. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that the Kalp is here, right? If we check his Kurultai, I'm not even sure if he's fully in range of his army here. That's problematic. You're playing a 25% disadvantage.
Yeah, now look at this. Kalp having to get out of here. But, oh no. 15
no.
seconds.
15.
He has to stay in the circle.
Run north.
Oh,
run
man.
North.
10.
Where is he going?
9. He's just going to run back into the... He either runs into the circle or into Crackety's army. Which one is he going to do? Okay, so he can run to the north. Yeah, we'll go north. It looks like it's going to be all right. There it is. It comes through. The
Okay, now
next
he's gonna
circle moves
up.
in.
He's got 5 minutes now, Merlin, so now he's going to pack everything up. He's going to wide wrap probably to the west and then up north. Bad news for him is even if he does that, it's not just Lash. We already saw that Voldemar is struggling to get foot up there, and he's fighting tooth and nail with Wham. That's about to become the biggest cluster duck imaginable.
Lash, why are you going to do this to Calp? Poor Calp. He's having a rough time. You know, he sat all the way over here by himself for the majority of the game. He joins in the fun now and just gets absolutely destroyed by these two guys, by the Germans. Germans against Germans.
But that's the thing, where's the German brother love here right now? It's almost like we're watching a rerun of Highlander. There could be only one. So like now, where does Calp go? Like he feels lost. He's going to run straight into Corvinus' base, but we know even if he goes south side, Sassy is moving in there. And although he has the edge on being in position to kind of unpack first, the problem is he doesn't have the edge of an army. And Sassy's been sitting here unharassed for the last few minutes. He's got up a sizable force.
Yeah, like poor Calp. He's just being sandwiched right now between Sassy and Crackety. He's going to have to retreat back out of the circle. But have a look at who else has been taken out here. Both Canadian brothers are pretty much wiped out here. Wham, all that he has left is a siege workshop and his Kurultai sitting behind this this forest.
Oh man, you wish you had one villager to start chopping in, right? The salami. I remember when he done that in the Outback Octagon 1. But no, Calp?
I mean, he's got 3 minutes, right? He's got 3 minutes. But maybe there's some way he can... no.
He's rebuilding for a push-in. So, like, if he times this right, Crackety and Sassy should completely burn each other. But even if they murder each other off, they're still going to have a better fighting chance than what's left of Calp's base.
Oh, this is rough for Calp. Maybe as you say, like, Crackety and Sassy are fighting here.
Oh my god, these Keshiks are completely wrecking him right now.
Yeah, they really are.
They're buying a lot of time. I think Crackety maybe just has this raw number count, and you can see in the midst of this, he's also just forcing the TC pressure, which is costing wood plus villager investment, right? And that stings Sassy in the reboot. In fact, if you look at the resource bank right now, you can see Crackety is a lot more comfortable with the reserves compared to Sassy, who's basically outfit.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing to mention here, Crackety has everything inside of the circle apart from this Kurultai. Sassy, look at his base. Most of it is outside. And it's going to take him time to move all of his buildings in here. And that's valuable time for Crackety, right? It's extra APM for him. It's position, right? It's going to be very hard for Sassy to move everything in here with Crackety over here and Corvinus just to the north, with especially now that he's massing up mangonels.
He's just been waiting, right? I don't feel like I've seen Corvinus really addressing anyone. He's just kept an army big enough that no one wants to touch him, and he's wiggled away to stay out of people's way. And this goes back to what I was talking about, right? Every other player in this lobby is not a Battle Royale player. People seem to forget Corvinus was maybe not like tier 1 successful, but he was an Apex Legend Pro player. So he understands this politics I talked about that exists in Battle Royales. He's done a great job of finding a good position to park that doesn't step on everyone else's toes.
Yeah,
how many mangonels is that? 8?
He's got 8 mangonels. I think he's making more. I see something in the queue there. I don't know what exactly, but I assume it's going to be more mangonels. What a madman. I mean, Calp's sort of following the trend here, right? He's got a mangonel of his own, but if he doesn't get his ass in this circle in the next minute and 20 seconds, there's not going to be much of a mangonel left.
I like how having one mangonel is following the trend. That's like when a 2-year-old, like a 4-year-old gets in a fight at preschool, and it's like, oh, he's following in the steps of like Colin McGregor or something like that. we're kind of stretching a little here.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but Corvinus here. Look at the mass he's got. He's even got 5 trebuchets in here. I gotta say, Corvinus is looking in such a good spot, and it's like you said. Corvinus is a Battle Royale player as well. No other player in here is a pro or semi-pro at Battle Royale. And Corvinus, he's also been practicing this mode. He knows what works and what doesn't work. And I think he knows that becoming the CG cutie in this mode definitely works.
Yes. And do you want a cute story for the next 30 seconds? Check out Pink.
Oh, Puppy Paw.
The myth. The legend. He's coming back with a vengeance.
I like it how both of the Canadian brothers are currently doing the exact same thing. Look, Wham and Puppy Paw.
It's a Ratatouille story. We do them better than Disney these days. 10 seconds, he'll get into the ring. but the towers might bring an end to him. Puppy, by the way, does have enough for extra villages to be produced, but he has nowhere to do it. Wham, on the other hand.
Rest in peace.
He's gone.
How is he still in this? He's not been eliminated yet.
He's got another landmark packed up, right?
How manages to survive? Have a look at that.
Yeah, he went in and then went back out, like, because Kraken is kind of distracted with the war, right? That's what I was talking about, that they were going to kill each other off, but at the end of the day, Kalp doesn't have an army to now come back in like he's the Sith that have been brewing for 1,000 years, right? I think Kalp is pretty much done here. The big people to watch now is, like, Kraken's kind of expired himself a little bit, but he has a decent amount of resources. But his comp has always been crossbows. Check his gold now.
Yeah, he's completely out.
Next in the chopping block.
Yeah, and the circle positioning for him this game hasn't been the best for him. He started out all the way back here, right? And now it's moved all the way over to this sort of the side of the map, which probably best position was probably for Wham. And somehow he's one of the first out. I have no clue how he hasn't been eliminated yet, but we've got more important things right now because we've got the siege of the war. No, the war of the siege. Oh, that's more like it. But look at this.
This is the losing battle, though, right? Where's Lash's Protai?
This is terrible.
Okay, he's clipping half. Like, the problem is he's kind of getting finessed in a lot of ways, right? And Corvinus had an edge in terms of siege count. But I'm more worried about this crossbow count at the end of the day, right? The Mangonel and Springs are going to take each other out, and then it's going to be whoever's got more pew-pew to work with. By the way, found out why Wham's still alive. Check the rubble of his PC, and you might notice a certain landmark just sitting there very comfortably.
It's on 0 HP, though. That's what I'm wondering. I don't know what's keeping him in this game, but...
Yeah, you're right, then. He should be dead. That's everything. Like...
Okay, alright. I guess we'll see where that one goes. I think Puppy Paw's out as well. No, he's still got his TC alive. Valdemar, he's looking a little bit rough here as well. We see he's down to just the Deer Stones. It's really just Sassy, Crackety, Lash, and Corvinus in this. And I think Lash and Corvinus are going to be the two here that it comes down to. Because I see this being very tricky for Crackety and Sassy to make it into this circle without facing 8 Mangonels from Corvinus and another 5 from Lash.
Well, this is the tricky team dynamics, right? So right now, like, your number 1, number 2 is Corvinus and Lash. But if they beat the living crap out of each other, it's kind of like both your armies are defeated. The player from the third nation comes in and plants the flag and claims the territory, right? And that can easily happen here still. I mean, Kalp heard I can get resources, and he smiled. Like, there's a few trees left here. This is the funny part, because the way that this is pushed inwards, right? It feels like if you have to exist outside the ring, you're feeding off of scraps. Because a lot of these tree lines that you're now on are like 70% expired.
Oh, look at the Mangonel shots coming through from Corvinus. I think Lash, he's struggling now, because have a look at his resource bank. He's really not got that much income coming in. He's only got food. No wood. Wood is a big issue for him right now. Doesn't have any sort of anti-siege to deal with the Mangonel. Sure, he can make men-at-arms and crossbows somewhat, because he's still got some gold in the bank.
Yeah.
But that just gets instantly destroyed by Mangonels, and he doesn't have any Springles to deal with them.
But the thing is, you say it as if, like, Corvinus has done this without wearing tear to himself. Like, he threw away, what, a bunch of villages in there? His crossbow count is half of what it was. He's got this siege mass, half still alive. My concern right now is he's looking quite exposed, and something that he has to be careful of is he can't easily move out to deal with Lash to get that killing blow. And if Lash keeps the outpost up for the Yam effect, that siege mass that you're looking at isn't safe still. It can still be cleaned up by just a small group of spearmen or men-at-arms.
Oh, that is huge value. Sassy just being so annoying right there. I mean, they're kind of evening each other up here. Like, Corvinus having all of these raids coming in from Sassy's kind of evening these two players up. We're going to have to see what players look to do next, though, right? I feel like this circle is huge. And we got a Wallolo. Kalp? 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 No way! Oh, I got so excited for a second.
He's living in La La Land. Crackety has come to finish what he started earlier. So Kalp, this will be the end of the road for him. 40 seconds until the timer ticks, right? But Crackety knows he's killing himself by doing this.
He's just given up.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to drag one down, right? Because in front of him, he's got Sassy kind of parked here. He's got Lash to the north side. Like, Crackety can still survive the next ring close, but he's not going to thrive, right? That's the issue. He's got one shot with this army. It is a sizable army, right? He's scaling up to mass men-at-arms. But you have to remember that 2 of his biggest opponents are scaling crossbows.
I love that Wham somehow has a Khan.
Maybe that's what it is. The Khan is a landmark, guys.
Oh, no. 8, 7, 6. He's not going to make it.
There ain't no
KP,
way.
he's not going to make it. Oh,
you got Yam chant in hell. This is a rip for the orange boy.
Destruction. And there it is, Calp.
First player to die.
Oh, poor guy. Oh,
How is Wham not
I
dead
have
still?
no clue.
I
That is crazy.
can't. But how is Wham not dead still?
Is it because this is on 1 HP?
It is. I think it is.
Oh,
But
man.
it's not an existing landmark. It's in a repair state. Technically, it should be gone. Wallow? No. We're not going to have that today. I don't think we're going to have any cheeky Wallows to redeem it. Oh.
Loss of Crackety's base is somewhat gone as well. All just packed up here. He's going to be looking to take out Sassy, though. Sassy's pretty much gone as well. So it's really just Corvinus here. I feel like Corvinus has this in the bag unless Lash can somehow do something here. We see he's still somewhat in this, but this next circle's going to be so tricky for him.
I think he's going to get teamed. I actually think Crackety and Lash are going to team Corvinus here. It just makes too much sense.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't win on your own. But, like, think about it. They come from both angles. Like, Corvinus, the reason you're kind of backing still is... Whoa. Okay, that was way too close to come. But to your point, though, right? The reason why you're backing his position is all that siege, right? But if Crackety teams up with Lash, look at the amount of men-at-arms they have between them. There's nothing that you can do as Corvinus to stop that.
That is true, yeah. There's a lot of stuff here. I mean, even if... I was going to say if Sassy gets involved as well, but he currently just has a single sprint, so I don't think that's going to be doing too much.
No,
I mean, I guess it could. True. Maybe if Corvinus doesn't do any sort of micro, then that Springald could come in clutch. But we're 3 minutes and 20 seconds away from what I think is going to be the final circle. I believe the next one's the final one. There's a point of where it just finishes. It's really, really small, but there is a point where it does finish. And that's where Corvinus, he just has to try and push everyone out of the circle and just try and get them eliminated.
Yeah, they need to plan this right.
I don't know how that's going to be possible. Look at Wham. He's on 0 out of 200 housing. And he has no landmark. I have no clue how he's still in this.
He's still alive. Like, Puppy Paw is also down to 0, by the way.
Oh, true. Yeah, his DC's
1
been
HP?
taken out.
No? Like, someone must be 1 HP. Yeah, someone's gone on with it. I mean, I don't know. Canadians get treated differently, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe it's the maple syrup that they drink. Makes them...
Well, it's the fear of bear attacks that makes them survive longer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That and their Mounties that have been going around for a while. I think that's still the Puppy Paws calm that's alive there. But siege push starts to begin. There needs to be a sync up here. If they're going 1 by 1, I think Corvinus still wins. But if Lash just stacks up for the attack, they can easily kill Blue.
I think so, yeah. They both got to go at the exact same time. No one else is really in it. It's Lash, Crackety, and Corvinus. It's the Germans versus the Hungarian right now. And Corvinus...
Not historical, right?
It doesn't, does it? But Corvinus...
Usually they're working together.
I mean, I think something that Corvinus really has going for him at the minute is he's got so many mangonels, right? But he also has 3 town centers and a Kurultai and, you know, the odd outpost here as well. And I think that's going to really help out with some fire. I don't think he has many villagers left. You can see he's got around 32, but that's still 32 more arrows of fire that could be coming out of these TCs if he wanted to. And that's something that Lash and Crackety here aren't going to have going for them.
Yeah, Voldemar could give a critical assist here, though. Like, there's 4 Keshiks could be murdering that wood line. He could have stopped extra siege from coming out. Instead, like, I don't know what... It's almost like he's just trying to find a new friend in the neighborhood. He's not easily going to find it, though. It's kind of weird when you don't have a clear objective in these formats, right? It's like, I guess you could try to meme, but for him, he doesn't know who's strongest, right? So who does he meme? It should be obvious by now, it's Corvinus. Everyone should be murdering Corvinus.
Corvinus even moving out here to the gold for just a few seconds.
I like that.
Yeah, it's really, really smart. You know, you want to grab all of the resources outside of the circle while you still can grab them. And then he can, you know, carry on making siege. But, I mean, yeah, Corvinus is just in such a good spot.
Well, he hasn't been producing extra right now, so I think he's just trying to scale siege. He has no interest in scaling additional crossbows. That's a danger point. Remember what you highlighted, right? Like, if these guys get wiped out, like, there's plenty of units to run down your siege. Like, half the army you're going to be facing between these 2 players is men-at-arms. And although you have crossbows, those crossbows are going to be the first thing ticked and addressed on the lead, right? Like, that's the first thing they need to deal with.
I mean, Cracked it. I think he's just waiting for the final death push. We see both players just sitting here by the edge of the circle. We're 7 seconds away. Lash.
Get the crew fired.
Lash. Lash.
Lash.
Lash. No.
No. No.
Lash. Lash. Oh man, everything just died. He's down to 7 crossbow, 3 men-at-arms, and a single springald. It's all up to Crackety now. I don't think he's got it enough in him. I think Corvinus is going to be taking the win here in the first game of Mongol Royale.
With the biggest assist he could ever get from Lash. And Crackety, he'll run in. It's a do-or-die moment for him, but he's fighting into Kurultai. More like Kurultai for him. And that choke point just holding on. The Mangonel smashing through everything on the flanks. There's simply nothing they can do. Lash throws the few units he has into it. But Corvinus, with 25 crossbows remaining, has drained them all dry. There'll be plenty of fanboys still floating around the flanks. But Corvinus stands alone at the top of this mountain.
Yeah, I see no way any other, like, the single Kurultai I don't think is going to be enough to deal with this, but players are still sticking in it. Only Valdemar and Kalp are out. Poppyport, Wham, Lash, and Sass have literally nothing apart from Crackety. He's got 6 units.
I mean, this is for intents and purposes over, right?
Yeah.
Like, looking back, I don't know what was happening with Lash there. Maybe he had a toilet break. Maybe someone, like, donated 50 subs and he had to read out all the names. Like, something happened. Someone distracted him. I don't know how much Lash has played Mongol Royale, so it might just be one of those casually forgets type things where you misread the circle, like, glancing at the mini-map or something. But there's no doubt in my mind that this, like, Corvinus done great to win this game, but that you cannot ignore that key element along the way that, like, in some ways this game was handed to him. That's not to say he didn't earn it. That's not to say that he was definitely going to lose that 2v1 fight, but we would have had, like, close to a 50-50 engagement instead of what ended up being nothing short of a 99% in favor of Corvinus engagement.
I'm currently reading chat right now, and apparently there was some issues with...
Wait, what?
Where they didn't have an in-game timer.
So they had to guess?
Well, I guess you could just look at the in-game time, right? And
That's
just
true.
count every 5 minutes.
Yeah,
but there it is. G gets called. Corvinus going to be taking the first win here on Mongol Royale. If you did enjoy this casted game, consider subscribing, leave a like, check out Killer Pigeon. I'll leave a link to him in the description. I'm sure you already know who he is, but, you know, if for some reason this video, for some reason, goes viral, then check out Killer Pigeon as well. But that's about it for this casted game. Hopefully you did enjoy, and we'll catch you guys in the next game.